Born in the Indian subcontinent, Dilip Hiro was educated in India, Britain and America, where he received a master's degree at Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. He then settled in London in the mid-1960s, and became a full-time writer, journalist and commentator. He has published 35 books and contributed to another 18. 3 of his earlier books were reissued by the publisher in 2013. He is the editor of Baburnama, Journal of Emperor Babur, a world classic preserved since 1530. He has also written scripts for theatre, television drama and cinema. Author. Non-fiction: The Longest August, The Unflinching Rivalry Between India and Pakistan. A comprehensive dictionary of the Middle East, apocalyptic realm, jihadists in South Asia, after empire, the birth of a multipolar world, inside Central Asia, a political and cultural history of Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkey and Iran. Blood of the Earth, the battle for the world's vanishing oil resources. The Timeline History of India, The Iranian Labyrinth, Journeys Through Theocratic Iran and Its Furies, Secrets and Lies, Operation Iraqi Freedom and After, The Essential Middle East, A Comprehensive Guide, Iraq in the Eye of the Storm, War Without End, The Rise of Islamist Terrorism and Global Response. The Rough Guide History of India, Neighbors Not Friends, Iraq and Iran After the Gulf Wars, Sharing the Promised Land, A Tale of Israelis and Palestinians, Dictionary of the Middle East, The Middle East, Between Marx and Muhammad, The Changing Face of Central Asia, Lebanon, Fire and Embers, A History of the Lebanese Civil War, Desert Shield to Desert Storm, The Second Gulf War, Black British, White British, A History of Race Relations in Britain, The Longest War, The Iran-Iraq Military Conflict, Holy Wars, The Rise of Islamic Fundamentalism, Iran, The Revolution Within, Iran under the Ayatollahs, Inside the Middle East, Inside India Today, The Untouchables of India, Black British, White British, The Indian Family in Britain. Fiction: 3 plays, Interior, Exchange, Exterior, Apply, No Reply, an Amp, A Clean Break, To Anchor a Cloud, A Triangular View. Editor, Baburnama, Journal of Emperor Babur. Contributor, A World-Connected Globalization in the 21st Century. 9 Chanda, Encyclopedia of Global Studies. Helmut Anhar and Amp. Mark Juergensmeyer. The World According to Tom Dispatch, America in the New Age of Empire. Tom Engelhardt. New Makers of Modern Culture, Volume 2, Justin Wintle. New Makers of Modern Culture, Volume 1, Justin Wintle. The Iraq War Reader, Micah Sifri and Amp. Christopher Cerf. A Concise History of India. A Just Response. The Nation on Terrorism, Democracy and the 11th of September 2001. Katrina vanden Heuvel. What's It Like? Life and Culture in Britain Today. Joanne Collian. Amp. Alex Martin. Iran and the Arab World. Hushang Amir Ahmadi. The Gulf War Reader, Micah Sifri and Amp. Christopher Cerf. Makers of 19th-Century Culture. Justin Wintle. Pieces of Hate. Brian Redhead and Amp. Kenneth McLeish. Makers of Modern Culture. Justin Wintle. World Minorities, Volume 2, Georgina Rushworth. World Minorities, Volume 1, Georgina Rushworth. Color, Culture and Consciousness. Bikku Parekh. 1 for Sorrow, 2 for Joy. Paul Barker, journalist, in Britain, France and Belgium. His articles have appeared in many leading publications, including The Sunday Times, Observer, Sunday Telegraph, Guardian, Guardian Unlimited, Daily Telegraph Magazine, The Times, Independent, Independent on Sunday, International Herald Tribune, Wall Street Journal Europe, Times Literary Supplement, Economist, New Statesman, and Spectator. In North America he has has published articles in inter alia The New York Times, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times, Wall Street Journal, Boston Globe, Toronto Star, Nation, Washington Spectator, Merp, Middle East Report, Atlantic Community Quarterly, Global Agenda, and Journal of the World Economic Forum. He was the chief analyst on the Middle East and Central Asian, South Asian and Islamic affairs, and terrorism for the Rome-based Interpress Service International Features Agency, and the London-based Gemini News Service Features Agency. He is a frequent contributor to the following online magazines: The Guardian's Commenters Free, Yale University's Yale Global, and the New York-based Nation Institute's website Tom Dispatch, Stage Television and AMP, Film Writing. In India, Dilip Hiro has produced a Urdu-Hindi play Tale of the Taj and was performed in Delhi and Gurgaon. Commentator. He is a frequent commentator on the Middle East and Central Asian and Islamic affairs on various radio and television channels based in America, Australia, Austria, Britain, Canada, France, Ireland and the Vatican. These include ABC, ABC Network, Al Jazeera TV, American Public Radio, BBC Radio and Television, BBC News 24, BBC World Service Radio, BBC World, Brazilian TV, CBC, CBS Network, Channel 4, Channel 5, CNN, CNN Turk, C-SPAN TV, Democracy Now! TV, Fox News Channel, GMTV, MSNBC TV, National Public Radio, NBC TV, ORF, Pacifica Radio Network, Press TV, Radio France International RTE, Sky TV, and the Vatican Radio. Reviews. The Longest August, the unflinching rivalry between India and Pakistan, brisk and clear history of partition and its effects. Mr. Hiro has written a highly readable account of a complicated history. A dispassionate chronological narrative. It is an excellent introduction to a bitterly contested topic. The Economist. In Hiro's retelling, Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi and Jinnah are alive with all their egos and foibles resplendent. The Longest August is a brave first attempt to magnify relations between India and Pakistan. The Independent. Hiro's book is a fluidly written narration tracing the prehistory of the conflict to Hindu assertion and Muslim anxiety as the independence struggle gathered pace. This is an eminently readable history that outlines the evolution of a complicated conflict. India Today. The book applies enough detail to leave the reader in no doubt about the upshot of India's partition, a nuclear-armed quasi-theocracy imploding under the weight of its own radicalism. This should inspire dread in the most stolid of hearts, not only in India but across the world. Washington Post. Deeply researched book about partition and its consequences. The adversarial relationship between the homespun Mahatma and the anglicized barrister is recounted in novelistic detail. This is a reliable, insightful and, for so partisan a subject, admirably even-handed examination. Wall Street Journal. A history that spans a century of antagonism, skullduggery and war. It is a tale of broken bloodlines, fatal miscalculations and mutual paranoia that has placed a bitter parting at the center of the destiny of a subcontinent. And it is timely. Hiro also offers fascinating accounts of the espionage wars between the two countries. New York Times Book Review. A comprehensive dictionary of the Middle East. Clearly written entries cover politics, religions, international relations, politicians, groups, natural resources, literature and art, and myriad other topics, with ample cross-referencing. Hiro displays an admirable even-handedness when covering contentious areas. He gives equal time to both sides of a conflict or disagreement without passing judgment or editorializing, making this an excellent reference source for readers and students interested in solid, fair explanations of the history of, and frequently contentious issues at play in, the Middle East. Highly recommended for both the specialist and the general reader interested in the region. Library Journal, a thoroughly researched dictionary. Hiro has created a must-have reference for all those interested in this fascinating region. The dictionary is easy to use, comprehensive and clearly written, providing information on a wide variety of Middle Eastern topics ranging from culture and history, politics and religion to language and literature. Banipal magazine of modern Arab literature. Apocalyptic realm. Jihadists in South Asia. The virtue of Hiro's new book is that he forces the readers to see the whole imbroglio solely through the eyes of the local actors, obliged to look again at such a depressingly familiar subject in such an unfamiliar and rewarding way. Richard Cockett, Literary Review. First complete history of Islamist terrorism in South Asia, to be commended for attempting to bring a regional lens to a subject too often written about in narrower terms. Sadanand Dumi, Wall Street Journal. Hiro's central premise of bringing India into the equation of the wars in South Asia is valid and important. Salil Tripathi, The Independent. Hiro's references are immense and he has drawn on recently released U.S. and Kremlin archives and documents. This book is a complete and authoritative study of South Asian jihadism, in fact the first major work on the subject. Reginald Massey, Confluence, South Asian Perspectives. A timely and necessary read for academics and policy makers interested in seeing the broader history of jihadist groups in the region. Kenneth Martin, London School of Economics and AMP Politics. Review of books.